We have to be quite realistic about the approach we take to the assessment of this module. I have defined a scenario which at first look appears quite simple. It seems to be quite easy that we could set up a small database and we could enter data into it, extract data from it, and so forth. But in fact it's quite a big problem. There are relationships within this database which could be considered to be quite complex. And perhaps the thing you should remember is that if there were to be a requirement to create this as an industrial strength project, the testing, the commissioning, the acquisition of all the data, all that sort of thing could take a lot of time, and that's what we don't have. What I do want to do is to give you some skills which will allow you to extend the skills after into other projects, or extending this project to something that may be more useful to you in the future. A major application nowadays in database terms is probably going to allow the users to access the database and modify its contents from either a desktop or a web-based scenario. That's quite a big job. The combination of technologies which might be used in order to create the database application might require a whole set of skills which one individual may not possess. Now, I could have set this up as a project which two of you could do and ask you to look at different aspects of the creation of this database solution. That would not allow us to prove that every single one of you understands all of the criteria which have been set. So I have to limit what we do. You may have heard of RAD, Rapid Application Development. Now, Rapid Application Development is generally considered to be a kind of spiral of operations where different versions are progressively created of an application, features are added gradually, and the client is involved in looking at and assessing whether each one of a set of prototypes meets the standard that is expected. We talk about two things, validation and verification. You need to understand those terms very well because they have a separate meaning from data entry and database design or application design. The prototype will be a cut down version which will allow you to implement some of the features which would be included in the full commercially based singing and dancing application. This is what I intend us to do. We'll create the database and test its robustness. We will import some core data into the database, into some of the tables which the database will need in order to carry out its functions. We'll produce a form to enter a new staff member. That's one entry into a single table and is therefore quite a straightforward procedure for us. We'll produce a form to enter a new issue. That's a complex task, and that's the task where most of the effort will be required. The issue itself being recorded requires you to reference several foreign key and primary key relationships, and that's where the complexity exists. We'll export selected data from multiple tables and multiple criteria into an external medium. Once again, that's quite a big job and is going to take some of our time in order to develop effectively. I have to warn you, what we're about to do is a big project. It's a big ask, but I think it's a very worthwhile ask, and skills will be useful in the future.